right, so back to this. Now we can move on to the positives with the game. Now that I covered the two main cons and the two main glaring issues that I have, because I really don't have any other issues with the game besides those two, but it's just because they were so fundamental. Like, because they were so fundamental, I had to just make a video on them. But now we can move on to all the positives, because I love a lot about this game. Right? Like, it's just, you got to get past those two things. But once you're past them, right, there's a lot to love about this game. And there is a lot I do love about it. You know, dare I say the main game of this was better than Insurgents. It's just the post game where it all falters. But again, so, right, we can just get started. I'm going to just start spitballing because there's just so much like that I love about this game. It's just, you got to ignore those two cons, right? I guess, yeah, let's start this. Mainline story, right? Mainline story. I love the mainline story. I think Team Meteor is by and large probably one of the best antagonistic teams out there. In terms of like presence and their, what's it called? I don't even know if presence is the right word, but I don't want to say aura, right? But in terms of just sort of the I think aura is unironically a pretty good word for it, but in terms of like the sort of what there's got to be a better term for it. I guess presence is a good term. You know, the presence in the sort of intimidation, the all-encompassing nature of like Team Meteor, you know, throughout the entire mainline story is just done so well, right? You know, it's almost like a feeling of like hopelessness. You're going up against an insurmountable sort of force, right? Like, I guess that's a good way. It's like a force. Team Meteor is almost like a force of nature in this. Because in Insurgents, okay, you have these cults that you end up taking down. That's cool and all. But none of them really compare to Team Meteor, right? You know, between you fight the pulses, you fight all of their admins, right? They kill off characters, right? Tiki, you know, right? Among others. AIM, right? Like, they kill off characters. You know, they team up with the New World Orderlies, and that's where you get the whole mystic, spiritual, cultist aspect, right? I mean, fuck, even Solaris' first fight, he just obliterates you with a Dragonite, right? Like, I don't want to say aura, right? But the all-encompassing nature and like just how much depth that like and width that Team Meteor has and how much of a grasp and like hold it has over the main game storyline. That's just like nothing else can really compare to it. I doubt I'm going to find another antagonistic team as good as Team Meteor, right? You know, obviously, and again, it's funny because I talk about this. Even the whole like split where you have Lin and Sirius overthrow Solaris, right? Even that, you know, I don't have an issue with that. I talk about how Lin is basically the antagonistic equivalent of us and drew the parallel to that, right? I think that her part in the main storyline was done very well, right? You know, she as the antithesis of us is the protagonist, you know. And then the Siege of Labradora, that like the build up and then execution of that was just done so well, right? And then especially, you know, the part where you get, again, you realize that Solaris, you know, right, has been beaten down and then Dr. Connell freaking puppeted by Pulse Mime, right? Oh, yeah, and all the pulses, I already brought that up. The pulses, the admins, again, obviously Solaris, and then I don't remember who the other guy was for the New World. Eventually the split, you know, the only thing I'll say I don't like is just like, you get like random ass people like Fern and Bennett and like join Team Meteor, like who weren't part of it initially. Like, I don't know why they bothered doing that storyline when they were just going to redeem him anyway. That's literally like my only critique is there was no need for like Bennett or Fern to just be part of Team Meteor at all. Like, but I guess it goes to show that they were like, but there was a positive aspect because it shows that they're like a mercenary group. Like, you know, it just goes to show how all encompassing and like, I guess oppressive, I think, like the like, it was just such an impressive, like, organization, like, bearing down on everyone in, you, really, the player, the entire main game. Because it's not really until the Civil War and then the Siege of Labrador where some of it, like, really kind of, where you really lighten the load, right? Or, like, I don't want to say load, but kind of lighten that pressure from their group, right? But then even then, Lynn goes and does her whole thing where she gets Arceus, right? But again, Team Meteor, just as an antagonistic, I think that's by and large, because they're the main drivers of the story. I think that's by and large one of the best aspects in parts of the game. It's just such a well done antagonistic organization. So really props to the game makers. So going over Team Meteor, right? I guess we can go over a lot of the characters as well. Let me talk about that later. Because I guess what I will say is, in terms of the characters, like Solaris, again, Taka, right? You get Elias, right? All of the characters of, and this is kind of the same point, right? But like pretty much all of those characters are done extremely well, right? Like, you know, oh, Jesus. All of the characters on Team Meteor are done extremely well. Again, that's just kind of a subplot, or subpoint, but like pretty much all of them are done very well. Like there's not a single character that I think sucks. Like, let's put it that way. Like, I think they're all done extremely well. Anyway, moving on. So that's Team Meteor in this story, because they really do drive the story. The region design. I think this is the next best thing. The region design. I think the region design is fucking excellent. I think it is fantastic. I think it's the best region design out of any Fang game I'm probably ever going to play. You know, the whole ward system, right? Where you have Reborn City, and then you have all of the wards, right? Connected. Then you have sort of the outside of the city areas, right? You know, Tourmaline with the scrapyard. You know, you have Bixbissian, you know, you have Apophel, you have all the routes, right, eventually leading up through other cities in other areas to, you know, Victory Road in the Pokemon League, right? Region design is just fucking excellent. Like, actually fucking fantastic. Like, again, you know, better than just like, because I mean in Insurgents, right? Another thing, Insurgents, you just have the standard routes and then towns and cities. This region, with how like it's laid out, just kind of blows everything else out of the water. Like, I'm not going to be able to play a normal like Pokemon fan game with just a normal ass region after this, because it's like this just really blows everything out of the water, right? In terms of like how they have the region set up, like it's just fantastic, you know. And another big thing, seeing Reborn City actually like improve over the course of the game, like, it's just, you know, another like, just, it's the cherry on top, right? It's the cherry on top. You actually see the city go from like a decrepit backwater, like, I mean, the whole backwards just like sort of conglomerate, which is what Team Meteor was originally fighting against, to see, you know, and then what it becomes where we're at now in the post game. Again, it's just, they do such an excellent job with that, right? Such an excellent job with the region design. Like, really props to them, you know. And then kind of along with that, the gyms. I love the what's it called? The I didn't realize I can just, oh damn, well, the gyms also are really good, right? This whole 16, I'm kind of indifferent to there being 16 leaders in what would you call it, you know, but like, I really enjoyed the gyms and all the gym leaders, right? And that kind of also moves on to another aspect, the characters. Originally, because here's what I will say, there's such an abundance of characters in this that it's hard to keep track of. But when you start thinking about the characters in terms of groups, like all of these little side stories and side sort of plots with all of the other characters, they did fantastically, right? Like, you know, Dr. Connell's orphanage, I think, is probably the primary one. But then, you know, you got so many arcs. Like, let's just start naming them off. You got Kane's whole thing, right? And Maria Titania. You know, you got the big top trio, right? You got Anna, Noel, Lynn, right? I mean, you know, that's for, despite me hating that basically just took over the entire story. Like, at least while it's kind of a side plot, like that was done with Radimus, right? Radimus and Luna and Shelly, or is it Sherry? I don't know. Again, you get the whole Powerful Academy, you know, with Victoria, right? You get Bennett, and then is it Charlotte? I was gonna say I don't think it's Charlotte, right? Because I think it is Bennett and Charlotte, right? This is Charlotte, right? Or Laura, Jesus Christ, you know, and then Heather, because I think I don't know, but that's why I'm like, there's so many. You get the, you know, the whole all of the rings, right, with Heather, and then her dad originally being an admin, then committing suicide to save her daughter, or his daughter, right? You know, from a Team Meteor taking their, again, ring to fulfill their desires, right? Like, all of these, like, again, little, because, like, again, I keep comparing to Insurgents, really the only kind of side plot that was going on was the whole Deoxys virus, right, having consumed Damien. That was real. And then I guess you have the whole storyline about who are you, right? That was another one, right? But really, those were it. This game just has so many sides, and it's like, I mean, it is hard to remember, but it is also like, you know, they do. It's just really the only issue was the fact that the whole Lynn, sort of that just fully encompassed the post game and took over the plot of the post game. But other than that, like, for the rest, in again, specifically like Dr. Condell's orphanage, right? Like, especially because we got the one, like, backstory. I think that was by and large the best post game quest, right? But, you know, again, it was just done so well, and seeing like all of the characters actually grow and evolve, like, fantastic, you know. Again, and then obviously, did I bring up Fern already? No, Fern and then Floridia, right? So yeah, all of this stuff going on at once, right? And it's just, it's done well, even though, like, it's hard for me to remember it all. Like, basically, it's really just about seeing all the characters. Like, the character development in this game is fantastic, right? You know, from when we first meet all these guys, like everyone that's in the nightclub right now, to where we are in the present. You know, is this fucking Florinia? Oh no, this is fucking Fern. All right, Florinia is right here. I'm not bringing one to her. This is it, right? So, you got all the characters, right? I mean, fuck. Look at what we're listening to right now. Music is fucking fantastic, this game. I know Glitch City did a lot of the music, or like they used a lot of their music, right? But like, music fucking fantastic. Like, I mean, I still think probably one of my favorite pieces is the Team Meteor admin, you know, Team Meteor admin fight, right? Team Meteor's themes are done extreme. You know, but again, a lot of them are also yeah, I think this is probably by far and large. Damn, is this actually literally the first one? But yeah, I think probably one of my favorite pieces is the Team Meteor admin theme. But again, music fucking fantastic, right? So I don't got a lot to say on it, just because it's like, you know, again, it's just done well. Like, that's basically that, right? Music in this game is fantastic, right? I like, because it's pretty much all entirely like new music. Like, they don't really reuse music from the mainline games, which is, unless it's like in the form of a remix, which is something I appreciate. Like, it's basically all entirely all done, right? With that, you know, another thing I also wanted to talk about region design. Like, this was something I wanted to bring up, Because, like, in the early game, you really don't have access to that much Pokemon. Like, the Pokemon that I'd caught that's in my party currently are basically, like, the first fucking Pokemon that I've found. I do remember I had a Kricketune at one point that I had to release because Lynn forced me to. But, like, I won't forget Kricketune, right? But, like, the team that I have, like, is basically just what I was able to find. And I think that adds, you know, to it. I'm just throwing that's like an extra thing, you know. What else? I mean, I feel like there's more to talk about. But I really got the big ones out of the way. Mainline story with Team Meteor, fantastic. Region design, fantastic. Freaking music, fantastic. What I will say, the game was a bit more difficult than I would have liked, or for my liking, but I will chalk that up to a skill issue. What I do appreciate is passwords. I appreciate passwords and being able to use basically all of the quality of life passwords to make the game easier, right? Because if we're being real here, like, Dear God, why? Oh, that's the one where he turned everyone's to Budu, right? I mean, we basically have all of the quality of life passwords. And for me, it made the game enjoyable. Obviously, someone else who, let's say, is more of a Pokemon guru and wizard, right, might like to add passwords that increase difficulty. I do like the concept of passwords in being able to adjust the difficulty of the game. That is something that I think is done extremely well. Being able to kind of tailor the experience, right? Now, I guess in kind of another thing I want to touch on. So, the story differences. I'm not going to talk about the post-game because I don't want to touch on the post-game in a video dedicated to positives. The Lynn versus Anna route, who cares? I did Lynn's route, you know, whatever, right? But for the main game, because you got not only do you have like multiple stories, right? You've got the Reshiram route, the Zekrom route, mixed route, the true determination, quote unquote, true route. You also got like little sub ones, like you got the whole, whether or not you find all the police, you know, you got the whole Belros Mansion. You got all these other kind of choices, right? So the variance in each of the playthroughs is something to be said, because there would be times I would get stuck in this game. I would look up a person's playthrough and then somehow Taka would be alive and I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, again, but because we ended up going down the Reshiram route, right? Again, it is just, I do think it's a good thing that the game does have, like, you know, like a story, like story variance. Like, that's such a cool concept that, like, I mean, I don't know if there's really any other games that capitalize on that, right? Granted, what I will say is there are some choices that absolutely don't matter, and you'd think they do, but then there are also choices like, apparently, whether or not you let Taka go with you, fight Taka, choose to fight him, or let him go with you, like, apparently that's like the most important decision in the game. And I feel like, I mean, to be fair, that is a pretty important one, but it's like, what I will say is, you know, if I had, this isn't even saying that I wish it was more obvious or apparent, but if I had known that, like, going into this game, that there would be story repercussions, I would have, like, looked into that. And I would have definitely gone down the true route, because just, if I was more dedicated, I would have I said this, I would have taken the Zekrom route and then went back and replayed through and got the determination route. But I wasn't going to do that, of course. But I do love the fact that there's like all these story differences, right? Yeah, are we finally done with all? I think that's pretty much everything I'm thinking of in terms of the positives of, like, all the positives of this game, right? Because it really was an enjoyable game. I think this is a great fan game. Again, it's those two main primary issues that I have that are pretty much solely restricted to the post game. If you took the main game of Reborn, I think it would blow any other fan game out of the water. If you just took it for the main game, I think the post game was what really drags it down. But the main game, I say clears pretty much any other fan game, at least definitely that I've played, you know, but I think quite possibly that I will play, you know, but because, yeah, it's just like, because I know the next one I plan to play is Rejuvenation, and I'm pretty sure it's the same goddamn website. Like, let me, Pokemon Reborn fandom wiki, because I'm pretty sure it is Reborn and Rejuvenation, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up. Let's see. Pokemon Rejuvenation. Yeah, it's from Reborn Evolved. I was going to say it's all part of like the same, you know. I always thought it was Reborn. It's Reborn, Rejuvenation, and Desolation, right? I don't even know. Regardless, that's the next one that I plan on playing, because it is all, you know, again, it is all, damn, it came out in 2014. That's kind of wild. But yeah, that is definitely by far and large, that is the next game. So I am excited to see what that has to offer. I do just hope that it can kind of avoid the pitfalls of Reborn, if we are being entirely honest, right? It's so weird to think that I'm going to finally be done with this fan game. Like, that's such a wild concept. Because even with Insurgents, I started playing it in like 2018-ish. My main issue was I took so long to like make progress, and then I ended up losing that first run anyway. But like, when I locked in, I pretty much beat the entire main game and post game in 2020. Like summer of 2020 and then winter of 2020. I guess with this, it's weird because I started nearly 2 years ago. And now, after all this time, I'm finally done. Should I go back and watch the very first... I don't know. That's a cool idea, though. Go back and watch the first part. Like, I can do that for Insurgents, too. Go back and watch the first part and then the last part, right? Regardless, I think we're finally wrapping up here. I love the game, right? It's just... the post game sucked. That's the honest to God truth. But like, you know, I will say one last, this is like the most minor nitpick. I'm much more of a Gen 4 Sprite fan than Gen 3. That's literally the only art possible. Like, that's not even like, that's just personal preference. But yeah, I think I genuinely pretty much went over everything with the game. I don't think there's anything else to say. Like, I think, you know, with that, right? It's like, I almost don't want it to end, because it's like I spent so long and so much time on this game, but all good things must come to an end eventually. For as annoying as the post game was, right? Yeah, I think with that, I'm going to end it here. I think we're finally going to put this series to rest after what did I say? 110 parts in the main game. 50 parts in the post game. That's 160 parts compared to what? Insurgents had 110. So this game was Insurgents is, so this Reborn's main game is the equivalent of all of Insurgents. So that's why I say, hey, the main game standalone kind of blows every other fan game out of the water. But again, it's just that post game, right? But yeah, I mean, I think I'm finally going to call it. Let's save it and then end this and really put it to rest, right? And then what I will say, I know Rejuvenation is going to be the next fan game I play. We will start that one. I need a bit of a break from Pokemon before I do another fan game. But we will see whenever that rolls around. Both that's really all I've got for this one. That's it for this one. See you in the next one.